Hello and welcome to episode 14 of Simple Ken. Yes, still going on.
It's time for simple. It's time for simple. It's time for simple Ken. It's time for simple. It's time for simple. It's time for simple Ken.
As you can see, the setup of this episode is quite different. I'm in Bangalore because I flew down because of a family emergency. So I packed whatever I could and nothing was decent enough for recording. So I just wore my workout clothes because I think I look pretty fly. And because the way I dress in real life is quite horrendous. So it was just like some blue and black t-shirts and this. Or the other t-shirts that I have worn for. I'm trying really hard not to wear the same clothes for any episode because I know someone will notice it and they will realize how cheap I am. So this is you can if I can include workout clothes in my videos, then I'm sorted. Yes, why am I here in Bangalore? My dad had an attack and he's good now. They put a stent and it was quite scary, obviously because of the situation and also because it's COVID and I was like, what if I don't get a flight? And I did immediately. So I was very lucky. And I did the whole, oh man, going to an airport now is weirdly really cool at the same time scary because it's so efficient. And I know I've said shit about Indigo before, but Indigo, I sat in a flight. And I asked the air hostess, can I have a blanket? And she said, we don't have blankets early. Which is a great way to end an argument. Waiter, we've been waiting for 20 minutes. Can you give me water? There's no water in the whole continent. What do you do? It's crazy. So I was like, but I'm feeling cold. I want blanket. She's like, sir, we don't have blanket in the whole flight. I was like, but then what do I do if I'm feeling cold? Like, sir, we'll switch off the AC then. Like, wow, do you know my dad? Because this is exactly what he does. Yeah. Indigo is my childhood, basically. Indigo, thank you. Thank you for helping me reach my dad. And I'm indebted to you. I know I've made fun of you in the past. It's just out of love. As you can see, I look like I was wearing a face shield. I was wearing a mask. I look like Darth Donald Duck. I really preferred the way of traveling. I was through check-in and everything in 15 minutes. And man, I'm just amazed at you guys is working during COVID. I landed and I have to do 15-day quarantine. Obviously, I don't have any symptoms and I did a test and I was negative. So I'm good, but still just in case doing quarantine, that is fine. Everyone at home is fine. If you're wondering, if for the people who are watching the episode, what this is. So basically the grass during summer gets too much sun. So you have to water it twice the amount. And my dad being the conservation of resources, instead of wasting water, why don't we just put this tarp on top of it? So it gets less sun, so the grass doesn't burn out. So it looks really cool, right? I mean, it's really nice. The weather here is really nice. And it's very hard to look at positives during this period. So I'm just trying to enjoy the weather and be grateful. I hope you guys are somehow managing. Everyone I'm talking to is slowly losing their minds, which is understandable. It's not fair that Russia got a vaccine. It's not fair, man. You don't talk to anybody, and now you have a vaccine. It's like a kid in a colony who nobody wants to talk to, who is really rich and has a basketball, and nobody has a basketball, and that kid is just playing alone. Like, what's wrong with you, man? Just share. I don't even know if that vaccine's legit, but I hope there's a vaccine soon, because obviously as a comedian, the only way I can get back to doing shows is when everyone in the audience is vaccinated. I'm not doing any of that bullshit social distancing shows. I hope I don't contradict myself down a few months so that you play this clip. But it has been a past few months have been quite terrible. But again, life is good. So I can be way more distracted here. I think there's a squirrel on that tree. There's a bunch of birds here. My dad's really kept this place nice. We have birds that sing, and there are two cats. Yeah. I mean, when you don't have a dog, you kind of compromise. There are two cats that my parents feed. Anytime we have fish, which is every day, they put bones here. And the cats, you would think that when you feed cats and every day that they don't go hungry, that they would be grateful. But no, I tried to make friends with the cat and he hissed at me. I was just like, no wonder you have such a terrible reputation because it's based in reality. So I don't even want to admit how late I am, but I have collected questions from a month ago. So I'll get to the questions. And sorry, guys. Sorry it took so much time, but it was really hard. And I'm shooting this on my phone. So, and that's the kitchen. I don't know if you can hear. I'm shooting this on my phone. And I ordered this on Amazon, this mic. And it came today. It came today and I'm shooting it today. So you got to give me what? Some recognition, some love. I mean, you guys give it already. I'm just feeling very guilty. This first question is by Sid the Sloth 2002. Hi Kenny, I'm Sid. I started posting a few covers on Instagram and I'm not bad, but it seems as though it's very tough to gain any traction. Also seeing 70 views and 130 followers is very discouraging. How do I deal with this? Also, even though I'm probably guilty of this myself, but I feel like a lot less talented female friends of mine gain followers for such projects very easily. Is this actually happening or am I just dumb? If it is, then how do I battle this? Okay, you are in one of those rare fields where being a woman is an advantage. So this is kind of how women feel all the time. And I think this is how the world is. It's not a good or a bad thing. There are certain fields that, like for example, hosting. When I used to host before, female MCs make way more money than male MCs. And I don't know about models. I think that's the same thing with female models as well. I might be wrong. So there are very few things where women have an advantage. And maybe you're in that zone, which is posting covers. Yeah, there are a lot of insects here. Posting covers of songs on Instagram. I think that's one field. But Sid, the reason I took this, because the obvious answer is the metric for your talent is not this. So you have to be very clear why you're doing this. Because this answers every question, which is, I'm going to start a podcast, I'm going to start doing stand-up, I'm going to start doing music, but I'm not getting followers online. Oh, I have a product, it's not doing well. And I just want to say that, when is the last time you followed something because of just talent? And the surprising answer is very few, because there are a lot of things that go into why you follow something or why something's successful. The biggest reason like iPhone is criticized is because for the money, there's a lot of features that are not there on the iPhone, which Android has. But there are a lot of periphery kind of conveniences and ease of use and fluidity that people are paying for, and maybe just good marketing. So, Sid, you're gonna keep trying, and you're gonna figure out that having talent is the bare minimum. And I want to keep telling people that. People say I'm good, why haven't I made it yet? Having talent is bare minimum. You have to be good at multiple things, and if you're not ready to be more than an artist, and also learn marketing and learn production and learn management and learn economics, learn psychology of your audience, learn trends, learn how tech is happening, learn how to talk to people, schmoozing. If you don't learn all of that, you won't get far. And that's not asking for too much, because that's what is required. A good analogy is you are really good at making engines, but your car is not selling. And then I'm like, yeah, but you need to know how to make the outer shell, how to make tires, aerodynamics. And you're like, but that's not my job. I'm good at making an engine. But I'm like, but no one is buying an engine. They buy a car. So I'm not being unreasonable by asking you to learn the other things. And a good side gift of mad people driving by will be like, who's this guy sitting in his car and just talking to a mic? It looks like I'm doing stand up to myself. Yeah, I just want to add a car passed by. That's why. You could collaborate with people who are good at all of this. Maybe get another musician or a drummer who is good at shooting, another bassist who's good at marketing, and it might help. And there is an advantage to female musicians online, but there are other advantages to you. Like you can go gig in a place till 2 a.m. because you're not worried about your safety, but a female musician can't. So pros and cons. So Meg Utsav asked a question and someone answered it, and I wanted to read both out and I just have a discussion. I just want to chime in. So Meg Utsav asked, I asked this earlier also, but I supposedly think you didn't read it. I'm trying to read everything. But I want to ask whether it's stupid of me if I want to change my decision of choosing a career in science and research to visual arts, even though I only decided to take PCMB in 11th. Does this show my indecisiveness of what I want in life? Love the long recording we are talking. So Anshika Chutan. Achutan. I'm so sorry if I've pronounced this wrong. No. People change careers at the age of 40 and above. You can start from anywhere. Just make sure you do some work in visual arts before you directly jump into it. Ask you questions like, is this what I like doing? Do I see this thing becoming my profession? It's completely alright to change your careers, and what I assume is you're quite young. Try to talk to people who are already working in that field and research. But one thing, until you go out there and actually do it, till that time it'll be all rosy and you'll be looking only at the positives of it. When you actually start working, you realize the hardships in it. Also, your parents supportive of your decision to change your career plays an important role. As what if everything fails tomorrow? So you need to have someone who financially supports you. If my dad has arrived at asking for lunch. Yeah, just finish this. My dad has arrived. My dad is just doing a... Papa, just come here. Just say hi to the camera. It's over here, the camera. So dad's gonna come and show his face. Ladies and gentlemen, for the people listening to the podcast, they can't see him. There's Dad. Say hi.
Hi.
Thank you. That's all. I'll come have lunch. I'll take another 20 minutes. Anyway, where was I saying? Where was I? When you actually start working, you realize the hardships in it. Also, your parents' support of your decision to change your career plays an important role. As if everything fails tomorrow, so you need to have someone who financially supports you. Great answer. It's a great answer. But again, you covered everything. I kind of disagree that you can change your careers at 40. You can change your career at 40 assuming your previous career was financially good for you. So you have a lot of savings, hence you can change. Also, you were so young, Meg. So I did visual arts. Again, I don't know if obviously no one's story is super helpful to someone else's life, but my life is so bizarre. Like I did science in school, 11th and 12th, I did computer science. Then I did visual arts. And then I got into music and film and graphic design, which I didn't study in college. So yeah, I think if you're really, really, really good at it, and you really don't mind putting in hours to learn that skill, then go for it. Again, my standard answer to everything is do it simultaneously. So as Anshika rightfully said, until you start doing it, then you realize that, oh, you don't even like this also. So a lot of people who do have full-time jobs want to do stand-up. I'm like, do it simultaneously. And if you like it, then quit. Do not quit anything and start something, which is the worst. The only time you should do that is for relationships, not for anything else. The Badass Croissant is obviously an Instagram question. Love your podcast. Don't know what you're talking about. It's so cool to see how your mind works and your opinion on different things. Looking forward for more. Now for the question. Nice. So most of the times when you're venting out to someone, they just automatically think they have to fix you. So they keep giving you advice instead of listening to you. Is this about me? It becomes harder to open up about stuff when people keep dismissing your rants like that, especially when your parents and you're quarantined at home. What would you do in such a situation? Yo, first of all, quarantine at home with your parents, that's a whole another thing. That's like years of non communication just building up and blowing up in your face. This is not just about them hearing your rant. Also, our parent generation love to give solutions because they had a very tough life and they constantly looked for solutions because their life was full of problems. It's a good problem to have when you have issues in your life and you know how to solve them, but you just want to vent. And honestly, just tell your parents that I just want someone to hear me out. This is something I took time to learn as well. When I was in a relationship, any of my exes, when they told me their problems, I used to immediately go into solution mode when in reality, they just want me to hear. And it's very hard to fight that instinct because you feel you're being useless by just being like, because that also is annoying. So communicate to your parents what you want them to do when you're venting. Dads love to give solutions. Moms like to empathize. So I think if your mom seems to be doing it better and more naturally, do it to mom. But dads give solutions. That's what dads do, man. And I love doing that. Made a whole recording out of it. Oh man, I love giving solutions. It's so much fun. It's like a crossword puzzle. It's like a riddle, but it's someone's life. And you don't have any details. And it's so easy to give advice. So it's so much fun when someone's like, I don't know, this is happening with my boyfriend or girlfriend. What do I do? I'm like, this is what you do. I don't even know your life, but this is what you do. If you sound like your answer is good, then people think you're really smart. But the thing is, the good thing about talking about it's just the fact that you know that you're not alone with this problem just makes you feel better. And that's the whole point. That's the whole point of about talking about problems. It's not about solving them. It's just knowing that everybody has the same problems and it makes you feel less alone. Man, this chair is specifically made not for slouching and I've managed to slouch. So, croissant, hopefully you figure this out. Kirtana Devasani, who's also an Instagram question, says, I'm a plastic surgeon and I cannot help but say this. We cannot transplant butt hair, or for that matter, any hair onto your scalp. We need to only work with the scalp hair that's left. It's just done in a skillful way that is not noticeable. Great joke though. Your podcasts work as a great stress buster to me. I've not missed a single one, and your views on varied subjects are indeed very refreshing. Keep them coming. This is why I love what I do. The fact that I made a dumb joke about transplanting my butt hair to my hair prompted a professional plastic surgeon to correct me. I know she knows I'm joking, but I just love the fact that she took time out to disappoint me actually, because I was pretty sure that I was sorted. But luckily, touch wood, I haven't lost my hair yet. But if I do, guess my butt hair is not going to do shit. Very disappointed with the butt hair. But yeah, hopefully I'll have some hair behind that I can put. I'm hoping I don't lose too much hair. I think that's the only kind of surgery I would do, which is hair. I think that's the biggest insecurity men have, including me. I think it freaks you out, because yeah, I think the transformation of no hair and hair is incredible for men. It's incredible. So thank you, Kirtana. I will remember that. I'm really disappointed though. I don't know what's the purpose of butt hair. I'm baiting a biologist by that question. In the next episode, it'll be like, hello, I am Devasyani, biologist. The purpose of butt hair is not to let body heat escape. I don't know. But thank you. Thank you for letting us know. Sakshi Rajkumar's YouTube question says, why don't you guys revive Dudes? That was a really hilarious series. Have any of you seen Dudes? So Dudes, let's see. Dudes, how old is Dudes? Let me see if it even comes up. Dudes, Karan Gill comes up. 6 years ago. Wow, I thought it was 4. 6 years ago. So if you haven't seen Dudes, so this is when Karan broke out, and nobody knew who I was, and I had long hair. And but we had already written Sketchy Behavior 6 years ago. Sketchy Behavior is a sketch show me and Karan do. It's on Amazon Prime. And he was like, let's do some sketches, because I think he was getting really bored with pretentious movie reviews. And we did it, and two things happened. Everyone hated it, and B, everyone hated me. So I was just like, you know what? I don't want to deal with your fandom. And I think since then, I've had a very, I got a good perspective about fandoms, is that sometimes your audience can work against you. Like, they don't want to see you in a different environment. But obviously you can break that. But 6 years later, all the comics love dudes, and which is nice, but it doesn't mean jack shit, because no one's what it has 460k views. Not bad. It's really silly. There's one sketch which is just about both me and Karan banging into a suitcase, and then we argue about the suitcase, and when you open the suitcase, I am also in the suitcase. Yeah, it's not, no wonder no one liked it. Riya Desai asks, hey Kenny, my question is that when people, generally actors, say that they see others doing better work than them, it motivates them, but then I don't understand how jealousy doesn't play a part. I experience jealousy very often and never seem to find a solution to it. What are your thoughts on jealousy and its impact on an individual, positively and negatively? I used to get jealous before, but I think as I grow older, since I'm 29 now, that's reduced, because you realize your life is so complicated and different from everyone that when you're jealous, you're usually jealous about one aspect of someone's life. But when you see the entire aspect of their life, you stop being jealous, because you realize that no one's perfect. It's okay to be jealous about money. I always could have some more money. But I always felt jealous when I didn't see results for how hard I worked, but then someone else got better results for working less hard. But then if you get to know them more, you realize that they're working pretty hard. And anyone you're jealous of is because you don't know enough about them. And when you get to know them, you realize that it's a proportionate amount of work that they put in to get that result. And some people are lucky, but you can only be lucky for so long. Sustaining it also requires work. So I think over time, you kind of get over it. Also, Ria, like, if you have time to get jealous, that means you're not doing enough. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. When I'm like just doing jack shit and just chilling in my home all day and not doing stuff, that's when I get jealous, because I have the privilege of thinking shit. But when I'm so busy and I'm just so focused on what I'm doing, there's so much work that I don't have the time to snoop about someone else and see how well they're doing. And also the thing is, should I have this thought before I forget? What is it? Something to do with someone else. If someone else is working. Oh, man, lost my train of thought. God damn it. It was a really cool point about jealousy and working. Anyway, if I remember it, isn't that pissing off? Now you guys also like, what the hell was it? Now we'll never know. I shouldn't have finished that first point. I should have just cut it off and gone on the second point. Thank you, Ria. Hope that helps. Just keep yourself busy and get to know the person you're jealous of, and you'll realize what other part of their life is shit and how your life is better in that regards. That's a good hack though. If I'm jealous of someone, I'll just be like, wait, do they have a good relationship with their partner? Nope. It's a terrible thing. It's a terrible way, but I think it's just like try to look at it's like a reverse looking at the bright side. If you think someone's perfect, just try to find the shit part of their life and just be like, console yourself. Yeah, I'm just being honest. Manya Sharma says, You know how people say never meet your hero? I think it's fair because we as fans expect them to be the same and we see them virtually, but it's not possible. It's only one aspect of their life and they have every right to maintain that personal space. But if you meet them in a different situation or somehow they're different, then it leads to great disappointment and a major setback as you admire them the most. Therefore, I think it's best if you only meet them virtually. What's your opinion on this? Thanks for reading. Oh, thank you, Vanya. Oh, I completely agree. I think the whole concept of your hero is based on idealism, right? So it's not real anyway. So it happens to my friends. Like there are certain sides of me that contradict how I am, and they are like, "Oh, I don't know." Like I don't drink a lot. I don't drink much, but when I do, I like to get drunk, and that surprises my friends. They're like, "Oh, I thought you're this disciplined guy," and I'm like, "No one's that binary." So I think it's a very natural thing too. The concept of a hero is messed up because you shouldn't have heroes because you're the whole the whole point of making someone a hero is to ignore certain aspects of them. Um, yeah, I think just learning from having a teacher is better than having a hero. So yeah, so if the definition of hero is an idealistic view of a person and ignoring their flaws, then what you're saying is the definition of it is when you see their flaws, you realize like, oh, they're not a hero. I was ignoring the flaws. So of all the heroes I've met, um, I think I've met Will Smith. I met Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt's a big hero. Bill Burr, I met personally. So these, luckily, when I met these guys, I never, nothing about them ruined my image of them, which I'm very grateful for. But anything could have easily, they could have said something that I could have misinterpreted, and I would have been like, no, these guys are not as nice as they seem to be. But I'm not so nice, and a lot of the people I look up to are not nice, and that's okay because people don't have to be nice all the time, and no one's perfect. Oh man, there's a beautiful breeze going through. Oh, before I forget, Indian Matchmaking on Netflix is such a great show, and man, what a great show! And a lot of people got pissed that it was showing how things are in India in a bad way when it's just showing how things in India are. And also the great thing about Indian matchmaking is it shows the power of editing. So most documentaries you see totally lies in the hands of the editor. What a great topic it is to find out what people want in other people when you can clearly see their own flaws. And it's refreshing to see people who are aware of their flaws, and the other extreme is people who are so nice but they overthink who they are and their problems. What a great fun show. And I was depressed when that show ended. I mean, not clinically, just sad, man. Please watch it, it's so good. And I've also been playing Ghost of Tsushima, which is a PS4 game. Having a blast playing it. It's based in 13th century feudal Japan. It's just beautiful. So I've been also working out every day, trying to stay fit and stay positive. The reason I'm saying all of this is because please, guys, just distract the shit out of yourself and don't go into a rabbit hole, because too many of my friends, too many of my close friends are like going through a lot, and it's understandable. I think we should constantly remind ourselves how lucky we are that everyone is safe and okay so far, and we have enough savings, hopefully, or have some income coming in to survive. We don't have to be supremely comfortable, but thank God for Netflix and Amazon and YouTube and Hotstar for content, so that we can, in no other scenario would I encourage being distracted, but please distract yourself. I've also been reading some books. I'll give some recommendations since last time you guys wanted. I finished Game Changers by David Asprey, I think. And I'm reading a book on the introduction to Zen Buddhism. I'll put it up, which author it is. And what's another book I finished? Outliers, I told you. And Stephen Hawking's big, brief answers to big questions. I think it's his last book. Finished that. It's a good book. You should check it out. Most of it went over my head. So yeah, just been reading books and watching stuff and trying to work out at least 20-30 minutes a day. Just do something, guys, and get through this period. Just the discussion. Now people have accepted that it's not a month's thing anymore. It's a year thing. And I would love to know what you guys feel about when this is going to end and how things are going to change. I honestly believe that we're never going to be the same again. Not in a good or bad way, just that's how things are. And yeah, by the way, a lot of people have started podcasts. Yeah. So I've started this before the pandemic started. And this show has kind of captured a comedian's slow descent into madness during a global pandemic. So thank you so much for listening so far, and I hope you guys are good and healthy, and hug your parents. The biggest fear I have is my parents getting old, and I think that's a fear that we all share. So it is quite scary to go through it, but it reminds you of most problems are stupid, and just be glad that life's good. I hope that wasn't too serious. Okay, guys, thank you so much for listening. That was Simple Ken. You can hear it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, anywhere. And please ask your questions on Instagram or YouTube. I see both. Follow the Instagram page. I will put some updates on it exclusively. You guys have been a sweet, sweet audience. Until next time. When is it going to be? Next year? Who knows? Who knows, guys? Tata, bye-bye.
It's time for simple.